Bragg. 15-9 BU outscoring their opponents. Yale's margin is a bit more slim. We're off and running in Boston, Massachusetts at Nickerson Field. They move from left to right. And the attack getting moving already. Point blank and a score for BU to get things moving here. It's Louis Perfetto, the junior attacker, and BU on the board.
About their performance all season long.
The Yale Bulldogs coming in 5-2, 2-1 of the Ivy League as Chris Lyons going to work, but he's manhandled by the BU defense. It was Jet Jama who's taken on more of a defensive role as they jar it out. Jama off on the clear.
A second good defensive play there by Jama. First the big hit, one of the bigger hitters on this team, and then he gets the stick in the shooting lane for a block shot.
Yale, as expected, putting a lot of pressure here on the ride. These are two of the best in the nation. And another score for BU. The goal was left vacated, and capitalizing on it was Tommy Bork. Make it 2-0 for the Terriers to start.
Yeah, interesting decision there by Yale defensively. Look at Bork wide open, and there's no hesitation for sure. It's going to be pocketing as young as we are, is what he said. And he said there's been a lot of injuries amongst his group already, so there's been more freshmen and first years playing than he anticipated.
And that's a goal here from, looked like it was Thomas Bragg, the junior attackman from Cazenovia, New York. He gets on the board first for Yale, make it 2-1.
That's a big goal for the Bulldogs to get themselves, not that they're out of this game, but a little bit of confidence going, and that's an absolute strike from the outside. A left team with a lethal offense like this is never a good thing.
Yale has scored 5 power play goals, make it 6. And they're now 17 attempts, just a tick over 33%, and Yale's on the board again.
Great shot once more from up top. Same number, right? 45.
Reigning Patriot League Offensive Player of the Week, he had a career-high 9 points. Point blank, and this one saved. Might have gone off the post as well. That was Louis Perfetto. Giving chase now is Bryce DeMuth, and BU comes away with it to retain possession. It's Vince D'Alto that gives it right to Perfetto.
Yeah, I love that.
Cutter in Quadrino, and clinical offense there. Off the rebound, BU back on the board. It's 3-2.
What I was going to say there, Jake, didn't want to cut off your goal call, is you got to love when your attackmen play defensively, play gritty back behind the net. It was Perfetto and
BU offense.
Yeah, I think he's really starting to round into form. Jake had an awesome game against the U.S. Naval Academy on Saturday. 4 points, and some of his assists were just terrific. Awesome passing sequences set up by Quadrino.
A wraparound goal here now for Yale. It's Leo Johnson who's on the board. Make it 3-3.
Sheesh. There's no time to slow down right now. I mean, every possession, we've now gone 6 minutes into this game. There's been 6 goals. That's 1 per minute.
Goal number 16 for Leo Johnson on the year, and this youth.
Yeah, best Patriot League start in the program's 9-year history, clinching that playoff spot Saturday against Navy.
Here's a goal for BU, and this time it's Matt Bogger, the senior. Came over from UMass. It'll be an unassisted, and that gets BU back in the scoring column. 4-3 now.
It's been a while since Bogger has gotten on the scoreboard.
Good for BU in his 9th season.
Yeah, he spent 6 seasons as an assistant at Yale, including 4 years as the defensive coordinator, and was part of that 2012 Ivy League Tournament championship team on Yale's way to the national tournament.
Andy Shea on the other side, he's a national champion in his own right, won it back in 2018, and really has spearheaded Yale's growth into a perennial national championship contender. As BU, what a fancy move from Perfetto. It's goal number 2 of the day. He had it at point blank and was able to deke out Paquette.
What I love so much about this BU attacking trio is their diversity in what they're able to do on the field. Perfetto had a relatively quiet day, Jake, against
early in this one as well. We're on pace for lots of scoring, which Yale has certainly done this year. Trying to make a move. It's getting a stick out in front there. Was Will Carson, the senior defender. Now, Yale down to 30 seconds on the shot clock. Let's see how they approach. At the X, Johnson kicks it out. Bragg looking for his third, and he's got a hat trick in the first quarter. Thomas Bragg, the junior. How can you stop that left-handed shot?
Well, Bragg came into this game with 6 goals on the season. He's already got 3 in the opening quarter. Similar spot on the field. I mean,
up here, 1-12-5. Yale's going back to work. Brad Sharp gave it right, and now Johnson, who's patrolled the X for a good portion of Yale offensive possessions here. BU doing a nice job of clogging up the passing lanes. Johnson. At point blank, there is Brandow. And Matt Brandow with the first goal of the game. It's 5-5.
Well, Andy Shea had nothing but nice things to say about Brandow, calling him one of the best offensive talents that he's ever
on Matt Garber in between the pipes to see what they give him, basically. And they just airmail it. Might have been an offensive miscue, potentially, on the clear. But so far, Yale causing certainly a few headaches for BU in the clear so far.
Yeah, BU so well known for its clear this season, but of course, Ryan Poley came from this system, so I think a lot of what he learned came from the other guy on the other side. It's why it's such an interesting matchup.
BU top 10 nationally in opponent clear percentage with 74.6, and back to score is Chris Lyons. The player to watch has had 3 hat tricks in his first 3 career games here at Yale. Add 1 to the ledger here, Craig.
I mean, this pace has been absolutely ridiculous. The defense can't.
And it's 2 one-minute penalties.
Mm-hmm.
Gainey makes a quick save, and he's out to grab the... Or correction, that's not Gainey. That's actually Will Barnes, believe it or not, the freshman goalkeeper.
My fault.
And he's burned there by the Yale offense. Kyle Zawadsky, the junior, is the one that finds the back of the net for Yale. Make it 7-5. There's a timeout here in Boston. 3
Maybe Yale might want to in some circumstances.
You saw Yale in the clear attempt just now take a fire at the goal. This is something, oddly enough, Andy Shea talked about with us yesterday, Craig. He said they'll probably try to play a 2-on-1 game. Maybe we'll take a shot if they leave the goal open. Maybe we won't. And we saw for the first time today they found a little bit of space. They knew they had the man behind the cage, and they took a shot at it.
Yeah, most teams have approached.
As Leo Johnson scores again. The 5'9 freshman from Greenwich, Connecticut, went to Avon Old Farms, which is an athletic power. Have to settle in here and make some tactical offensive decisions. But Brandow has other plans. Matt Brandow back for more. He takes it himself, gets past the defender and scores, and now 9-5 your score here in Boston.
Oh, you called it, Jake. It was a real good play by Niedringhaus to slow things down off the rush and force Yale into that half-set offense. But when you got a player like Brandow who can just make plays on his own, I mean, he's outnumbered there. Been quiet so far.
Well, here's Perfetto. Bogger looking to make a move. Perfetto right down the pipe, and Paquette another save.
Just feels like BU's offense is settling a little bit right now. Not sure. I mean, it is predicated somewhat on freelancing for sure.
And a goal in the open field for Yale. We mentioned again, Craig, this was something that the Yale Bulldogs would look into tactically if they were getting enough room, and all of a sudden they beat Garber again. It's 10, as we've seen the last couple of possessions and the last couple of goals, of course. Johnson dishes it out. A Terrier got a stick on it. Looked like it was Meyer, and it goes out. The shot there, that was Chris Lyons. So under 8 minutes to go, and now the score 10-5 in favor of Yale. Burning Garber to the top left is Matt Brandaw. And it's 11-5. We'll take a pause. BU with a less than ideal start to the second quarter, and now they trail by 6. We're back after this.
60s.
We'll leave it to the lacrosse historians watching here today, as Garber got a stick on it, and it stays in the crease. He'll scoop it up. So BU could stop there. Good crowd here at Nickerson Field. Yale, of course, only about around a 2 or 2.5 hour drive from New Haven, Connecticut, as Yale comes away with it again. They outnumber BU, and they make good on the opportunity. Chris Lyons, goal number 2 of the day, and one more, Craig, would make it 4 straight games, his first 4 collegiate appearances with the hat trick.
It's Yale again, out on the rush in transition, creating these mini 2-on-1 situations. Got to make a decision on the back end if you're Dane DeGoler. How much do you slide out to the ball carrier knowing the pass might be coming? He's got to kind of tween it, and it doesn't work out. It's been an onslaught of offense here for Yale, for sure.
Yale back to work, and Lyons, with 4 straight games, his first 4 collegiate games, with 3 goals. He's up to 12 on the year, Craig. How about that? Lyons gets an opportunity with a couple of, and now Lyons at the X. He's got 3 goals today here in the first quarter. Beautiful off-balance goal this time for Patrick Hackler. He was the one that threw it into the abyss, and it found the back of the net in the clear attempt just a couple of minutes ago, and now things spiraling out of control for BU. It's 14-5.
An absolute necessary timeout called here. Everybody's stationary, standing around the conference, or not against top-ranked team. It feels a little bit different, and Yale has handled that attack trio as well as anybody so far this season.
Well, and again, Craig, you look at the statistics as Lyons go straight down the middle and scores. Oh, absolutely clinical offense from Chris Lyons. Makes a couple of dekes. Defenders shaking their boots, and it's 15-6. Chris Lyons up to 4 goals.
Pretty looking offense, like you said. Shake, switch of the hands, beats one guy, beats the second guy, as well as they can't start practicing until later. So a lot of times the development throughout the season, the process happens later in it, so they get better later than other teams do because they haven't been practicing as long. And this team is absolutely rolling right now.
Chris Lyons pouring it on now. That's goal number 5 here in the second quarter. And now it's 16-6 in favor of the Yale Bulldogs. And we're not even at halftime. Opportunity to come down the field and take a good look at it, but the Yale defense had other plans. And now with just over 90 seconds left, Yale trying to add on to this 10-goal lead, 16-6 here in quarter number 2. Brian Tevlin to the left side. Here's Lyons again. He scores. You want more? How's 6 goals for Chris Lyons?
What more is there to say right now? Yale cannot be stopped offensively. They're on some kind of record pace. They must be. Let's see if we can check the numbers here at halftime. It's going to be a new career high for Lyons. And
not a bunch of pressure from Donnie Howard for BU. As the offense picks up, Johnson, he scores! Leo Johnson off an assist from Matt Brandow.
I mean, they've done it every single.
Some of the best riding defenses in the nation. As Perfetto from Tibby Lay. He finds the back of the net here. It was Perfetto. Got off to a good start, but he hadn't scored since the first quarter. And get the hats out for number 8 in white.
Yeah, things looking reminiscent of the first couple of minutes of this game with that previous sequence there. Maybe BU wants to get out and transition a little bit more against a team like Yale. It seems like they've had more success on the run.
19-8 your score, BU trying to chip into an 11-goal lead for the Yale Bulldogs. Of course, we've mentioned it on the show today as Lay scores. Timmy Lay finally finds the back of the net, and BU cuts into the lead. It's 19-9. Lay was the reigning offensive player of the week in the Patriot League, had 9 points on 4 goals and a career-best 5 assists. And he finds pay dirt here.
How much of their legs they had coming off of Saturday and a little bit of change of routine, again, only being the first weekday game as the Terriers score here, and if they'd be able to keep up the emotion after that huge win on Saturday and being on the road here. Only 2 losses have come on the road.
And it goes high on this shot. Only 3 seconds on the shot clock. A big hit from BU. But a score from Yale. It was some good defense there from Donnie Howard. But they can't stop Krevsky as he scores for Yale. It's 20-10.
Yet another first year getting on the board for the Bulldogs. Brings me back to a previous point that we talked about earlier in the game, coming out of halftime. Possessions were just about even. Faceoffs pretty even at that point. Still pretty even, 18-16. It's been about getting stops or lack thereof for BU in this game at large.
To keep your eyes out for number 3 in Navy. He scored 7 goals in the first 3 games, and of course those were against Villanova, Penn State, and UMass. Scored against Denver, scored against Cornell, didn't score against Princeton, and did not appear last week as a wraparound goal here for the Boston University Terriers. It's Quadrino. And now, if you look at it through that lens, Craig, and you put the score and maybe the ground balls aside, this is not a terrible game for BU as Perfetto will find the back of the net. That's number 4 for Perfetto.
Right. Cruising to wins, and that's exactly what his team has done today in Boston.
He said, sometimes you benefit from the tough grind, though. And that was an interesting quote from him as well. Yale has certainly had a lot of those this year. They've really had to earn a good chunk of their wins. 17-14 against Villanova to start. Then you have a 10-6 loss at Penn State. They come to UMass. UMass comes to New Haven, and Yale wins 13-12 in overtime as a score from Yale here. Makes it 22-12. It's Brady McDermott that gets on the board for Yale. The assist from Kyle Zawadsky.
Almost the opposite in terms of remaining conference opponents for BU. They took on sort of the bottom half of the Patriot League first and still have the top half teams to see yet. We'll see Princeton Saturday, as you talked about. Still on the schedule in Patriot League play, Loyola, Lehigh, and Army. Those are the 3 teams right behind the Terriers in the standings, so it's not going to get much easier after Princeton either.
Here's a goal from D'Alto, as that's his second of the day. D'Alto, after a slow start, finally putting a pretty solid game together, Craig. He's got 2 goals, 3 assists for 5 points on the day. And he's taken 12 shots. He had to figure it was a matter of time before the leading goal scorer. Took a bet on his athleticism and his raw skills, and they really shaped him into a really nice, solid part of this BU attack.
Yeah, he said he didn't play a ton of club ball, i.e., select teams that travel. And he said his conference in the high school that he went to,
as many as 2, depending on what goes on in the rest of the nation. And now we're under a minute. Timmy Lay has a save from Lanu. And it's picked up here on the ground ball by Perfetto. And now the shot clock outnumbers the game clock here, so behind the back goal from D'Alto. And D'Alto with a late hat trick. Was able to get up to 35 goals on the year.
Pretty standard Vince D'Alto there, making that thing look easy. Absolute beautiful shot. Able to disguise.
With only a couple of seconds left, let's see if BU can get one off. Lanu the save at the horn, and the Yale Bulldogs keep on rolling. It's a roaring 22-15 final score here in Boston. And the number 5 Yale Bulldogs